Hello, and welcome to Business Growth Insiders, where we take your business and grow. This is episode 31. I'm very excited to continue this show. It's amazing that we're able to go this far. From what I hear, most podcasts end way before episode 20. So very excited that we're still rocking and rolling here. We've got a great show for you today. This is a Lisa special show, so stay tuned. Y'all are going to love this. My name is Jeff Evans. I'm one of the co-hosts of Business Growth Insiders. With me, as always, the illustrious Lisa McGuire. Lisa, how are we doing today?
I'm doing really well, Jeff. I'm going to have to look up illustrious. I mean, I keep hearing that term, so I need to make sure I'm walking in those shoes.
I hope you are, because it flows off the tongue, as I say, the illustrious Lisa McGuire.
Yes.
If it's a terrible term, then, I'm sorry.
It sounds good. It sounds good. So I'll take a look and dive in and see if I can show up next week more illustrious.
Awesome. All right. So I'm not going to be doing much talking today, which I'm sure for a lot of you is very exciting. Instead, today is going to be a Lisa-focused show. Lisa's going to be talking to us about how to grow your business, the 6 real good steps on doing so. So the areas of focus, of how to really grow your business. And with that, I'm just going to tee it up and Lisa, take it away.
All right. So, the name of this podcast is Business Growth Insiders. So what we really want to do is give business leaders some ideas on how to grow their business, also talk to other people on how they've grown their business, or bring people on that can help you grow your business. So today I'm really going to dig into, back to the basics of really taking a step back to look at how businesses work and how businesses grow. And we're going to use the analogy of an airplane. And, when I talk to people about this, they're like, how's an airplane like a business? Well, you're really going to see that there are 6 distinct parts that you can use to grow your business that are how really an airplane is put together. So the first one we're going to look at is really the brain of the plane, the cockpit up there, and we're going to work our way back. But here's the thing is, when you think about a plane, everything is built in proportion. You've got to have wings that are the right length and the right width. You've got to have the fuselage that's able to be supported by the engines. You've got to have the cockpit headed in the right direction, the right equipment in there, and you've got to have those fuel tanks. So when you think about it, cockpit would be your leadership. Your engine is going to be sales and marketing. Your products are going to be the wings. Your overhead is going to be the body or the fuselage of the airplane, and your fuel tanks are the cash flow. So think about this. If you walked up to an airplane and you looked at this airplane and you saw the body of the plane was enormous, and the wings were these smaller wings, and the engine had these little tiny propellers, it would be all out of proportion. You probably would not get on that plane, would you, Jeff?
No, and I think I know where this is going, but yes.
Yes.
I'd get on it just for the fun of it.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want it to fly, because you would think those propellers are not going to get this big engine or this big body of a plane off the runway.
Right.
So what this is an operating system that I use when I work with clients, and you're going to be able to see when we explain this operating system, what is wrong with the business immediately. So just like you would look at that plane and you say, those little engines and those propellers are not going to do it. You're going to be able to look at your business and see what is working and what needs to be fixed. So the thing we know about airplanes, when you get on a commercial airline, and so, my habit, and I think a lot of other people, because I watch people do this in front of me as I'm waiting in line, is you step on the plane and I immediately look left, all right? Because where I'm, coming in up by the cockpit, I look left because I want to know who's in that cockpit. First of all, I want to know, do they look like they've had a good night's sleep? Do they look like they're coherent and all of that? So, but what I'm looking at also, I usually see they're going through a checklist. And so airplanes have a checklist. They've got a process that they follow to make sure everything is going to be aligned, so they can stay flight worthy, and make sure you get to your destination.
Right.
So the overview of frameworks and checklists that I'm going to use today is created by a company called Business Made Simple. There is a book called Business Made Simple by Donald Miller, and there's also a whole group of online courses and all types of curriculum that we use. And so that's what we're going to follow today. And the reason why this is important, that your business is a thriving and revenue generating machine, that's all about profit, is people depend on their businesses because that's what's going to help them survive and succeed in life. So if you're ready to jump in, we're going to start right up front with the cockpit. And the cockpit of your business is the leadership of your business. Now, it doesn't matter if you have an enormous business where you have thousands of employees, or if the business is you. If you are a solopreneur, you are still the leadership of your business. And the leadership really falls on the shoulders of the executive and management teams. All right. So everything in business hinges on leadership. The leaders are the one that deliver the vision. That's where the financial accountability is. They're the ones that manage the talent to run the organization. So every person in that cockpit should know what their responsibilities are and how to perform them with excellence. So the cockpit personnel, as it relates to business, is not only your CEO, it's your whole leadership team. It includes board members, the executive leadership team, and even middle management, because those folks lead other people. So anyone who has team members reporting to them could be considered in this leadership cockpit, because you're leading divisions, you're leading departments, you're leading teams. All right. So in this leadership track, a couple of things that need to be as a foundation is, first, understanding your personal mission. And Jeff, you may say, Lisa, we're talking about a company. What does your personal mission have to do with the company? Mm-hmm. Well, I will tell you, if you don't get out of bed in the morning and have your mission aligned with the vision of your company and where it's going, you're not going to maximize your company and take it to where it can be. You're not going to be all in. You're not going to be fully committed. So your personal mission needs to align with the company mission if that company is going to succeed. And if you've not taken the time to figure out your personal mission, I will tell you, it is a life-changing experience. All of a sudden, you know why you matter. You know why you are doing the work you're doing. You know the story that you're going to be able to tell at the end of your life. You're going to be able to model this for the people around you and leave that legacy. So making sure your personal mission is on track, as well as creating a company mission that attracts the right talent, that everyone in the company understands why they matter and why their work is so valuable to deliver the product or service that you offer. All right? Okay. So next, besides that mission, personal and company mission, you need to make sure that you communicate well. You know, some of our best leaders are maybe not the ones that have the best character, but the ones who communicate the most effectively. Now, ideally, we want a leader that has amazing character. Mm-hmm. A leader who's worth following. But communication is critical to be able to lead other people. It is going to be a distinct competitive advantage, because when our words are heard and when they're understood, that is when people take action. When the leader casts vision, when they communicate it clearly, they will have a whole following of people. They'll be able to start a movement. So those are some foundational frameworks that we use: the personal mission, the company mission, the communication framework, but some other things as a leader you need to pay attention to. Okay. All right. So you need to be watching your data. So you need to have a dashboard so you can keep score and see that your business is still airworthy. You need a digital dashboard with metrics that tells you how you are doing, that you can share with your team. You also need to make sure that you are going for the right talent, because we know at the end of the day, it's the people that make or break or your organization. And if you make the move too quickly and you hire the wrong talent or the wrong person for a position, one, we know it's increasingly difficult to get rid of people now with all of the regulations in HR, but it's also can cost your company just so much money because you spent all that time investing in finding that person. And then you have to, look at the damage that might be done to the company if you don't get the right person, maybe how the company's not advancing. So making sure that you are able to hire the right talent is important for a leader. And once you have that right talent, is retaining them. And this is where a lot of companies fall short. They find their talent, they get them. And if they're really great talent, the leaders of the company have to work just as hard to keep that talent as they did to get them, because there is a war for talent out there. And I know you've seen that.
Yeah, constantly. There's headhunters are very busy people these days, constantly being looked at, hit up on LinkedIn and so on and so forth. It doesn't matter if you own your own business or not. People need talented people. And, if you're not taking care, it's just like if you're not taking care of your customers, they're not going to stay. If you're not taking care of your personnel, they're not going to stay either. There's no such thing as loyalty anymore. There really isn't. It just doesn't exist.
No,
Go ahead.
That gold watch after 30 years went away a long time ago, right? So
especially after 2008, anybody that lived through that period and saw 401ks demolished realized, whoa, I can't necessarily stay with one place. I've got to do this, do that, get a side hustle. That's when that whole side hustle thing started. So, you've got to look out for yourself. Unfortunately, it is what it is. So if you're not taking care of your personnel, your actual, associates, then they're going to leave, and they're going to leave fast. They are not going to wait.
Yeah, there is no more security of keeping your job with so many reorgs and, just the marketplace the way it is. So you need to make sure that you are doing everything you can to build that culture and keep your talent. So Cockpit was our first of 6. So we're going to move on. If you're okay with that, Jeff, we're going to move on to the right engine of the plane. And this is where your marketing resides. And the reason we're starting with marketing, and I know this is a topic near and dear to your heart as well as mine, is marketing is the fastest way to bring cash into the company. It's through that marketing engine. And, I know we've talked before, a lot of times companies will leave marketing as one of the last things on their budget. And, when I make money, I'll spend money on marketing. Well, that's kind of a backwards thinking to do that. But we start with marketing because when marketing works, the sales team also benefits. And, there has been this rift a lot of times between sales and marketing. It's, there's finger pointing. There's not necessarily collaboration, but they need to collaborate because the sales folks are the ones that are customer facing. They can bring the information about what's happening in the customer's mind back to marketing, and marketing can help craft that message and put that infrastructure in that makes those salespeople successful.
I know, but man, there's so many businesses that still don't get that. It's unreal. This is not a competition. You guys are on the same team, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but, absolutely. Boy.
A lot of personal experience there.
Yeah. I know it's hard to be in that. And when you're in a company where that works, it's amazing. So building a marketing engine that works and performing the routine maintenance on that engine. So making sure that you're always watching your marketing, you're doing A/B testing, you're always, looking at the analytics to see what you can do to tweak it. That is going to give the thrust to the wings. That's going to require the lift and create the lift and safely move the overall company forward. All right. So still kind of thinking back to that airplane. So in the marketing engine, we look at a couple of different frameworks. The first one is the StoryBrand messaging framework. It is a very effective framework. And, I've been working with this for about 4 years now. This framework is one that follows a narrative path and invites customers into the story that you are telling. And you're not talking about your company, you're talking about the customer's story. And that is why it is so effective. It is so clear. So making sure you have that clear message that will engage your customer is the first thing you need to do for your marketing. Do not spend any money on marketing. Do not spend any money on advertising until you have the right message to connect with your ideal client. So once you have that message, then we're going to look at building a sales funnel. And the sales funnel is how you attract people. You first intrigue them, you enlighten them until they finally commit. So you are acquiring leads, you're earning trust along the way, and then you're closing sales, but it's in an automated fashion. So that's where the digital marketing sales funnel that we build. And I work with clients to do this. And you are very involved in this realm, Jeff, of making sure that all of the things are working. It works with or without a sales force. But having a sales team to back it up is going to increase that sales funnel effectiveness.
Yeah, absolutely. Even from a lead gen perspective, if you can get a sales rep to call a lead that comes in through a funnel in the first 5 minutes, you are over 80% more likely to actually acquire that lead into a customer. That's a huge number and a huge bump. 5 minutes. That's it.
Yeah, 5 minutes. I will take that 80% any day. I'll take that any day. So when your marketing engine is running well, that's when you're going to start seeing revenue and cash flow increasing. It's going to take a couple months to get that ramped up, but getting that going is really a priority. So that's that right engine. You've got to have a really strong right engine, right?
Right. Yeah.
So now we're going to move to the third part, which is the left engine, and this is going to be sales. Sales is, again, a way that you boost thrust for your business, and you need to activate either a sales team or a sales representative at your company. Now, again, if you are a solopreneur, let me tell you who that's going to be. You need to look at the mirror. That's going to be you. So making sure that you've got that automated sales funnel working for you digitally, but then you're out there talking to people. So you need to have a process, a pipeline of a process to measure the progress that they can track a lead steps through the story that you're inviting your client into. So what this means is you need to know where your lead is. So first we've got, identifying leads. So these are people that are potential purchasers of your product or service. But you just don't want every lead. You want to make sure that you move on and that you qualify leads. And they need to be filtered either through a sales team. A lot of times qualified leads, you can do that through the copy that you use in your marketing. If you tell them who this is for, you can automatically qualify leads. And then once that sales lead is qualified, is what you just talked about, Jeff, is having that conversation, having that intake conversation, the discovery call, finding out what is the problem they have. And is your products or service able to solve that problem? You've got to find out if you're a right fit. Because if you are not, it's not going to be a pleasurable experience for anyone. I don't want to sell anything to anyone who doesn't need what I have. They're not going to walk away happy. We may not even get through the process. So you got to make sure that you do that intake call. And then make sure you're using other sales tools, whether it's emails or webinars or other tools, videos that you have to, again, take that person through that pipeline. Then you want to send the proposal, making very clear about what their situation is, how you solve the problem. Be very clear in your offer. Put a deadline on how long that offer is good, because you're not going to be available to forever to work with them. You've got a production schedule as well. And then closing sales. So your sales team should be trained in how to close a sale. And the one thing we see, a big mistake many companies make with their sales representatives, is they give their sales representatives not only the interaction with customers, so calling clients or having lunch with them, building those relationships, they also ask them to do a lot of administrative tasks. And this is where a sales team, you can really boost their effectiveness, is by giving them access to talent that can help them with those administrative tasks so they could be client facing, because that is where they're so effective, and that's where they're going to boost that productivity and that return on the investment you've made in the sales team.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. One thing comes to mind, and that's the massive software of Salesforce.
Yes.
Your sales reps, if using Salesforce, are lost. I promise you, they're lost. They don't need to be dealing with Salesforce as much as you're making them or forcing them into. That's why it's called Salesforce. Anyways, so you've got to back them off of that so they can really focus on making those sales. But also keep in mind too that sales reps, yes, their main job is to bring you sales, but their secondary job is also to bring you insight. And you touched on that within the marketing section. Don't underestimate the power of getting that insight from people. So when you have a sales rep that isn't closing enough, or even you have a sales rep that is closing a good amount, but there's still people that are passing through, ask them why. Ask them what are their objections? What are their responses? And take that information and start to, put it into data points so that you can really figure out what it is that people, have issues with, so you can counter. So, I mean, obviously in a sales presentation, you want to be able to talk about all of the quote unquote negative things ahead of time and spin them to the, what it is that makes them the right choice. Right. Yeah. But anyways, keep going.
Yeah. So overcoming those objections, and the key point that you talked about there, Jeff, that I really liked is, asking people, but when you are speaking to those customers or those potential clients, is even recording the exact words that they use as they talk about the problem, because marketing can use those words, because you want to attract, the type of people, like, what are they dealing with? They want to be able to use the exact words to find the people who talk about their problem in the way that they experience it. So really great point on that one. All right. Absolutely. Moving to point 4. So now we go on to the products. And so, at this point, what we've done is leadership knows their roles and responsibilities. We've got the marketing engine fired up, and we're heating up our sales engine. So now we're going to look at the actual products that we're selling. And the products, if you remember, these are the wings of the plane. All right. So they've got to be very strong. They've got to, again, be the right size. They've got to be profitable. And when we start our businesses, that's usually where we start. We start with the product. What is it that what am I selling? How am I giving someone value that they're in turn giving me money for that? So, but if your business has been running for a while, what typically happens is you have one product, and then you expand to another product, and you need to expand, and you expand to another product. And before you know it, you have all these streams of revenue. People aren't really sure what you do. And the strength of your products or your service, it starts to lessen because you haven't really built them up strong before you moved on to create another one. So our products should be profitable first, and they need to be in demand. And so this is where, we talked about in an episode prior, is going back to look, do you really need to be selling this product? Is it one that is driving revenue? Is it one that is bringing you a high profit margin? And if not, maybe reconsider, pull it away, and maybe put your efforts into something else. So that's making sure you're analyzing the profitability of the product and services that you offer. And so when you are creating new products to generate more revenue, we are better served by doubling our marketing and sales efforts on the products that are selling well. So installing a product creation process is a good thing to have. So figuring out, okay, what is the need? How many people have that need? And, one recommendation I know that the author of Business Made Simple, Don Miller, makes is when they create a new product or service, before they even go far enough into product development, is he has them create the sales page. He has them create the landing page. using all the language. And by doing that, then they go ahead and really identify the benefits that that product or service has.
Mm-hmm.
And he puts it out there, he makes it public, and he has a button on the call to action is join the wait list. And by putting it out there, they can gauge how much interest, how much energy is behind that product that they haven't even fully developed yet. And if it is not generating that interest, then they pull it, because why put all the money and time and energy and resources and talent into doing that if now is not the right time, or it's the right angle of the product or service that people want. So I thought that was brilliant, but really have a product creation process that you follow to make sure that you're going to give the highest quality and profitability without adding a lot of overhead.
Mm-hmm.
And the last part about the product is making sure that you are creating a customer journey map. It's really important to understand what your customers are experiencing as it relates to your brand. So, in a former role I had is I was in client acquisition, really the marketing and sales to attract folks, to get them in the door. And if you're in an organization or a company where you are loving all over your leads, and once they become a client, you hand them off to someone else, and they need to experience the same level of attention or support once they become a customer as they did when you were, let's say, courting them.
Ooh, that's key.
It is key. It is the key to customer retention. It is the key to creating what we call raving fans, and it is the key of getting referrals.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Mind blown on that one. And the reason being is that we spend so much time as small business owners in the sales process and courting leads and courting leads and courting leads.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they turn into customers or clients, we're then like, phew, that's done. And then, we're going to send them monthly reports and they'll be happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, they won't. And that's actually a really huge point. That's a big aha moment for me right now. Big one.
Yes. And I will tell you, customer retention, it is so much easier to sell to an existing customer than it is to acquire a new one, because you've already built that trust. You've already been able to deliver something to them. Absolutely. So those of you watching or listening, please keep that in mind. Just take a pause today and think about, do my customers feel the love? And if not, what am I going to do to make that happen? All right. Okay, on to point 5 is the overhead of the plane. So this is the body of the plane. So right now we've already, we're focused as leadership. We're on track. Our company's making money. We've got the sales and marketing engines working. We got these great profitable products. Now we're going to look at, where do we need to trim our overhead? Because I know one thing, Jeff, in my business, like the whirlwind of activity and, a great opportunity comes along and you purchase this and you buy this. And then before you know it, you look at your financials and you've got all these subscriptions to things that you don't even know what they are anymore. So really taking time to look at, what does it take to run your business? And this is anything from the paper supply, or the technology you buy, or the break room in your company, and what you stock the refrigerator with. All right. So here's what we know is, if the body of the airplane is too heavy and the wings and engines can't lift it, the airplane is going to crash. And the same thing is true in business as it relates to overhead. So here's what you need to think about, this one mentality. If business is going to reduce weight and increase lift, here is your filter. This is going to be mind-blowing. Stop spending and start investing.
Oh.
Right? Stop spending and start investing. So if you do have cash there, put it through this filter. Is making this spend going to help invest in my company, or is it going to drain from my company? So that's what's called the fuel filter. And you want to make sure that you're allocating more resources to the wings and engines. So that's your sales, marketing, and product, because that's what's going to get that body of the plane off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So overhead is also your talent. So making sure you look at your org chart, make sure that you look at the responsibilities of the people in your company. Do you have people doing too many things? Do you have people doing the wrong things? Do you have people duplicating activities? So that's a really good time to look at that. And it's a great way to be able to maximize and create those efficiencies.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times you have to trim the fat, whether that's, someone or something. And in this day and age, if we don't need to actually be renting offices, then, that's a huge amount of overhead that you can eliminate. Mm-hmm. But the key here is what Lisa said, which is to put the money back into your business. Don't take the money and think it's profit. Take that money, put it back into your business. You have to do that. Now, I mean, everyone has to, make money. We gotta, feed people. But anything that's extra at that point, put that back in, whether that's marketing or another sales rep or, something to that effect. But, that's key to keeping this, this airplane off the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to head on to the last point, which is really critical, Jeff, and that is cash flow. No matter how well an airplane is designed and built, it's going to crash if it doesn't have the fuel, right?
Right.
It is the most important factor to watch in a business because without the cash, the business cannot operate. And what happens a lot of time, again, we're in this whirlwind of our business activity. If you are not paying attention and you have a clear eye on that cash flow, you get distracted, then your business is going to suffer. So make sure that you establish safe protocols around revenue and around cash flow. Identify not only the business owner, but someone else on your leadership team who is watching that cash flow. One, it takes all the pressure off of you. You share that with someone. But, having that joint responsibility to keep that cash flow healthy and moving along is really critical. And to do that, you need to have an accurate view of your financial facts. All right. These numbers are going to tell you what's working. These numbers are also going to tell you, we need to stop and look, why is this not working? Are there unhealthy trends in our business? It's going to help you make better financial decisions. So managing that overhead is a great way to keep the business lean and efficient, and asking, is this next spend an investment? It's a great way to increase the fuel efficiency, but you're also going to make the right type of decisions that will increase or maintain that cash flow. So we have summarized 6 things you need to pay attention to, 6 areas to focus on to grow your business. These are important parts of the airplane as we related it to business. And we want to make sure our airplane is safe and airworthy. So they need to be in working order. They need to be in the right proportion to the others to make sure that it's going to work. So what I've shared with you today is an understanding of the Business Made Simple operating system. When you understand the system and you understand the framework surrounding it, you're going to be able to immediately see what is wrong with your business and know what you need to do to fix it. So hopefully this has been helpful to our listeners. I know, Jeff, we were talking before we started. It's a great time for you to take a look at this as well with some of the businesses you're working with too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, this is really good stuff. Clearly, I mean, I'm looking at some of the notes over here, but clearly, you can add value as a business to a business leader, and you've obviously done the work to be trained in this.
Yes. I actually have been working with the StoryBrand framework for several years in my business. As I said, this is my 4th year going into that. And I use that messaging framework, but also I had the opportunity to be on the ground floor trained as one of the original Business Made Simple coaches. So trained and certified with the Business Made Simple organization. And so, able to hit that with the ground running. So that is where my training has come from.
Okay, awesome. Well, what can people do if they want to learn more?
Yeah, so I've got a couple of free resources for our listeners. First of all, if you would like more information about these 6 components and a checklist to go through to ask yourself, where am I on this? Email me, Lisa@lisamcguire.com, and I'll put this in the show notes as well. And just email, and in the subject line, put the word checklist. You don't even have to write anything in the email, just put checklist in the subject line. Send that email to Lisa@lisamcguire.com, and we will get that Grow Your Business checklist to you. The other thing is, if you do go to my website, lisamcguire.com, and you scroll down on the homepage, you're going to see an area where you can access, it's called the Business MRI. So what we will do is take you through an assessment. It takes about 15 minutes or so, where we're asking you questions about you in your business, and you will get a score on how healthy your business is. So that's 2 free resources for our listeners. I'd love to share with them today.
Awesome. And Lisa, how do you use this content in your business?
Yeah, so how I use this with clients is I've got several different things. One is I offer a couple of different coaching programs. So as a business growth advisor, I love bringing in a group of about 6 to 8 business owners. And, they don't all have to be from the same industry. Actually, it's very beneficial when they're not, because you hear what another business owner or business leader is doing in their company, and you may be able to take that idea and connect it to something you do. So I have small group coaching that I do. It's for a period of, we start with 6 months and then go on with there if the groups are interested in continuing. I also do one-on-one coaching. So if you want to move farther, faster, and really focus in on your company specifically, I work with those. I also offer workshops in most of this content that we covered today. And I do run a mastermind. And a mastermind is different than small group coaching. A mastermind is bringing business leaders together. And again, it's that accountability to each other, but helping each other. And I facilitate that mastermind. It's not necessarily coaching in that. So yeah, thanks for asking, Jeff. I know there's a lot of business leaders that are looking, particularly after this pandemic, they're looking for ways of, okay, now what do I need to do to move forward? How do I strengthen my business? And so that's what I love doing.
Well, Lisa, obviously you're very good at doing so. So anybody that's interested, please reach out to Lisa. She certainly knows what she's talking about and can help you with that. So I think this has been an absolutely great episode. I'm going to personally go back and listen to it as well a second time. Because I don't have to hear my voice that much. It's mostly you, so that's good. But I'm excited. This was wonderful. Obviously, we're going to see you guys again next week. From Jeff Evans, Lisa McGuire, take your business
and grow.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.